Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for taking a look at my review for American Horror Story, Season 5, Episode 4, titled The Devil's Night. This was an incredibly weird episode. So a big spoiler alert. If you have not watched the episode, I do not want to spoil it for you, so please do not watch my review. And if you are watching my review without watching the episode, you are really missing out. This episode brought back the weird in more ways than I could even imagine. It was truly creepy, disgusting, all at the same time. It was fantastic. Basically, the show opens with Richard Ramirez. Oh, and I apologize. This episode was written by Jennifer Salt, and it was directed by, again, Loni Peristere. And I hope, again, I am enunciating that correctly. The show opens with Richard Ramirez. He is coming to check in at the hotel. Liz recognizes him. He says it's his third year. It's pretty funny, though. The real Richard Ramirez stayed at the Hotel Cecil, and he never used his own key. He always broke into his own room for some reason. And in this episode, this Richard Ramirez does the same thing. So I thought it was really cool how the writers really integrated exactly who Richard Ramirez was in real life into the show. I thought it was fantastic. They really tried to bring all these characters to life. You have Eileen Warhouse, you have Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, the Zodiac, those kinds of people. They're all serial killers. They're all coming to the hotel, and basically Liz gives him his key, and he says, no, I get in the other way. And Liz tells him, well, the master has left you some treats on your pillow. And the treats on his pillow aren't chocolates like you would assume. They are people. There are two people asleep in that room, and Ramirez kills the guy. There's a woman, and she manages to escape. She runs into James March, and he kills her before she can manage to get away. So you see at that point that they're obviously working together. I mean, it's pretty scary, though. I mean, she finally flees the horror guy. She thinks she's safe, and then, the guy kills her. It's like it's straight out of a horror movie. It's pretty awesome. So basically, in this episode, John wakes up and he talks to Scarlett. He's talking to her on the phone. When he's done, blood is dripping from the ceiling. He goes upstairs and he meets Miss Evers. And they have a little conversation. And she basically tells him, she doesn't tell him the year, but we know that it's 1925. And Miss Evers, I guess, is single. She takes her little boy, Albert, out to trick-or-treat for Halloween. And unfortunately, he is kidnapped by a child murderer. It's found out that supposedly he's murdered by the guy. They're not sure exactly what happened to the little boy, only the sheet that he was dressed in for his Halloween costume marked with blood all over it. It's the only thing they can find of Albert. Everybody was buried in a mass grave, so they can't ever confirm if Albert was in the grave. But anyway, it goes back to Miss Evers and how she tells John that every Halloween she's a scatterbrain because this happened to her on Halloween, and that she felt that because of also what happened to John and his son, that they're kindred spirits, which I thought was kind of odd, but yet it's very true. Hazel Evers, I don't know, whoever wrote her character, I thought was fantastic. As a mother, they really got to me also as a viewer when the guy drove off with her son and little Albert is in the back window looking at his mom and she's looking at him and there's nothing she can do to help her son. And just the way he looks at her, oh my God, it got me right in the heart. I mean, that was a great episode. To really make you feel like that could possibly be happening to you. I mean, that is every parent's worst nightmare. So I thought they did a great job visualizing that to the viewers. She keeps going back to the sheets, and then he goes and checks on the murders that she has talked about. He finds out that the murders happened over 60 years ago and sees her picture in some of the newspaper photographs and wonders she hasn't aged a bit. So how can she still be alive? I mean, how can she still be alive and look that young? So John, I think, is starting to realize that the people in the hotel, some of them are ghosts. Alex has found Holden, and she took him home with her. But she kind of realizes that he's different. He asks for some juice. She goes to get it, and she spills it everywhere. And you can see visibly that she knows he's different. When she goes back to give him the juice, he's drinking the blood out of the family dog. Then he tells her that he needs his mommy. And she says, well, sweetie, I am your mommy. And then she realizes that I guess she's not anymore. She takes him back to the Hotel Cortez, sees the glass coffins in the swimming pool, and the Countess comes out to talk to her. And the two have a little conversation. The Countess basically tells Alex that Holden has been infected with a disease, I guess a virus. And the effects of it are health, vitality, and everlasting life. I guess there's no cure for it, and so she tells Alex that she rescued all of those children from neglect. She didn't take those children from those loving, wonderful parents. She took children from parents who were neglecting their kids. And she tells Alex, look, you have a choice. Either you can join us or you won't. And at first, Alex tells her, no, I'm not going to join you. I'm not going to basically be an infected vampire. But she changes her mind because she wants to be with her son. And she comes back to the Countess and offers to her that, yes, she will go on ahead and be a vampire and she'll be a governess for the kids. So that is how that ends with Alex, which I thought was pretty, creepy because we're looking at these mother-son connections in the episodes. Season 1 had it. Season 2 had it very strongly. If I could remember correctly, Season 3 somewhat had it. Season 4 a little bit. But I really love with Ryan Murphy and Brian Falchuk is that they have this connection with a mother and a son. And I think now I'll probably do a special video on that, on how the mother-son relationships in this American Horror Story season and prior ones are always a central focus in the main storyline. I think that's pretty interesting, and that definitely is a big message I think the writers are trying to give us in the story. So I'll put out a video about that here very soon. Okay, so now Alex is a vampire, okay? Now, back to the Devil's Night. John, while this whole thing is going on, John meets Eileen at the bar, takes her upstairs with the intention, I guess, of banging her. And instead, she bangs him over the head. Excuse me. And she ties him up. He manages to get free, though. He goes downstairs to, I guess, tell Liz what happened. And he sees the Zodiac on the way to see Liz, which I thought was pretty cool. And when John turns the registry around, he looks at the names. And the Zodiac wrote on there, I am the Zodiac, and put his little sign as his sign in. I thought that was pretty cheeky, from the writers. I thought it said, I am not Zodiac, but it said, I am the Zodiac. I thought that was pretty cool. Again, that was a nice little cheat from the writers, I'm sure. Just the way that you put that in there. I like to notice little things like that. Liz tells John basically that it's the Devil's Night. It's a social event of the season, and only specific people are invited to Mr. March's party. And then Liz realizes, oh, you have an invitation. So she gives John his invitation. He gets dressed, he goes upstairs, and he sees all of the serial killers. Now, this is when things really go insane. And the episode has already been insane up until this point. But this is when it goes majorly insane. The party is in room 78. I thought that was interesting. I'm trying to keep track of where events happen in certain rooms. I think those details are important, and the writers put that there for some reason. John Wayne Gacy is there, Jeff Dahmer, and March tells John that he invited him because he makes March sad. And that Gacy said that only the ones who took March's advice get invites. So why did John get an invite? And why does he make James March sad? Unfortunately, it never explained it. It was just, like I said, such a weird episode. They all tell how they came to the hotel, all the serial killers, and how they met James March and how he influenced them to become better killers. John is handcuffed and he trips out to some absentine. I'm not exactly familiar with it. Perhaps I should have looked it up on the internet before I did this video. But he does start, things just go crazy. March says that John is not yet their kind. So does that mean then that John is going to become their kind, their evilness? Because he said he's not yet. So does March know something that we don't? I mean, perhaps it will be explained to us in a backstory. So dessert is served, and Sally brings up this guy that tries to pick her up. And she makes an interesting remark to March. She says to him that this buys her 1 year of being left alone. What's she being left alone from? What's this going to buy her from? I wondered. So they all the ghosts convene on the guy, and they all kill the guy that Sally brought up for dessert. Okay. I don't even want to tell you what Jeffrey Dahmer did to some poor guy that they brought to the table. You should really watch the episode and check that out for yourself. That was insane. Sally basically tells John that she is his protector. She takes him upstairs while March looks on. Now, John doesn't know that March is there looking on. So I guess what John was in a parallel reality, I guess, in the ghost world. And then he fell out of it with Sally. And March is still able to observe him. I'm not sure. The episode is still going to continue. I'm looking very forward to episode 5. And I thought this one was brilliant. If you guys, again, have not seen it, you really should go back and watch it. It was probably one of the most scariest and creepiest episodes since the first one. I really thought it was a very good episode. I'm sure I've said that a lot on here. My one-liner award goes to James Patrick March. At the dinner party, he tells everybody, "We are the Mount Rushmore of murder. We have reputations and codes of conduct." I love that. We have reputations, codes of conduct. You're murderers. You have codes of conduct. You have reputations. But the Mount Rushmore of murder, I just thought that James Patrick March is so far what I think is a really great character. Guys, thank you very much for taking a look at my video for my review for episode 4, The Devil's Night. Again, you should really watch it. If you have already watched it, watch it again. It was fantastic. If you like this video, please thumb it up. It always helps me. Leave a comment if you have questions. Hit the subscribe to get all of the rest of my videos because I will be doing the entire season of Hotel. And thank you all very much for watching. Enjoy, and don't forget to leave your key when you check out.